Hey gamers, how you doing? My name is John and welcome to my Gamester81 show. This episode I'll be talking about the N64, so one of my favorite retro systems out there. A lot of great games for it. If you don't own an N64 system, I highly recommend it. There's some gems out there for the system. If you do own an N64, I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you turn it upside down, you'll see what they call extension. EX, capital E, capital X, capital T, tension. I don't know why Nintendo decided to spell it like that. But what it is a port where Nintendo wanted to come out with other add-ons to the N64. So every N64 system has one of these. There's a cover and flap for it generally. Just take a look at it and you'll see that it's there. The only add-on that Nintendo came out for the N64 was this thing right here. This is a really rare N64 disc drive. I've done a review over this in the past. A fantastic system. There are only a handful of games for it. Only came out with Japan. Most of them are only available through mail order in Japan. Never saw the light of the day in North America or Europe, unfortunately. Hence making it very rare today for collectors, very sought after. This thing failed miserably. In fact, it makes the Virtual Boy look like the DS as far as sales go. However, the system actually is pretty cool. That's the N64 DD. However, because of the extension port that Nintendo produced, there are a lot of third-party companies that produced, I guess you could say, bootleg systems for the N64 without Nintendo's permission. They were not official Nintendo products. One of these systems is called the CD64 Plus. That is what I'm actually going to review in this video today. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the system. There were other bootleg systems. One was called the Dr. V64 that came out in about 97, 98 time. This one came out around the same time. So let's take a closer look at the CD64 Plus. I'll show you how it plays, kind of what it did, and how it's kind of unique to the history of the N64. So here's a closer look at the CD64 Plus. This is the second version that came out. I honestly don't know too much about the system. I don't know a specific date that it came out or year it came out. I do know it's around 97, 98 is what I'm thinking based on what games can play on this thing. And you'll see that here in a second. I do want to say, first and foremost, also thank you to a fellow YouTuber here in the community. His name is Javier Cortez. His YouTube channel is called Mysterio Zone. He reached out to me. He actually sold this to me, and I really appreciate that, Javier. This is the second version of the system that came out. This is made by a company called UFO Success Company. I don't know the specific year it came out. I'm guessing it's around 97, 98. The first model, the CD64, is more dark gray or almost like a black, match the color of the N64. It had 128 kilobytes of RAM, and you can actually expand that as well. This version is almost a see-through clear plastic, almost like a smoke gray. I guess it matched the smoke color of the N64 that they have. And this version has 256 megabytes of RAM, so you can also expand among that too. This cost of this system was anywhere, I think, with shipping, $200 to $250 range. This is compared to the more popular Dr. V64 system, as I kind of mentioned a little bit before. That system came out around 97, 98 as well. Actually, I think the first Dr. 64 actually came out in 96, and they made it up into 98. And essentially what the system does, in case you're wondering, is you can put CDs in here with different ROMs of N64 games. You can play those ROMs through your N64. And so it's kind of cool. And you actually can burn your ROM, take your ROMs from your cart to your PC and upload them that way. So you can basically store your games onto one CD for convenient factor. This also works as almost like a Game Genie to a sense. There's a program in here with cheat codes for a lot of the games or games that were produced up into when this came out. And there's cheat codes where you can actually program those into it. This also can work as a debug system. There's a connection in the back. I'll show you in a second. We can connect to your PC and you can actually use it as a debug system. The V64 actually cost around $400 or $450, while this costs half that, $200 to $250. So you ask yourself, why is such a big difference? If these systems did essentially the same thing, why is such a big difference in cost? Well, the answer to that is quality. The CD64 Plus and the CD64, the original one, they just weren't built on quality. These were made and manufactured in China, and they tend to overheat and burn, unfortunately, and that's the case with this particular unit. Now, part of it does work. I'll show you a little later in the video what does work about it, and I'll kind of explain to you what doesn't work about it. I don't blame Javier on sending me a system that overheated. In fact, he was very nice about it when he sent it to me. I sent it back to him. He tested it. He did a video. It worked for him again, and he sent it back to me, and it didn't work for me. So it's just my luck, and I kind of stored it away for about a month or so. I don't keep my systems plugged in when they're, and for some reason, right before I'm about to do this review, I noticed something. I'll show you what that is here in a sec. But I'll turn this around here. Let me take this top N64 off. Now, there are no screws. Now, the 64DD has the screws that you can actually screw in. This doesn't, but this actually lays really nice on top. It fits perfectly. Here's the extension port right here. You can see how it burned here, so it overheated. Now, I'm not sure why that was the case, because it comes with a AC adapter and CD64, and like I said, I don't keep my systems plugged in, but I just noticed this right before my review, so I was really bummed out about it. If you guys know how I can fix this, certainly reach out to me, send me a PM, send me an email, let me know. I'd be happy to get this working again, because it is a really cool system. There's a 4-speed CD drive here, and you can actually take these out and change it, and let me show you the bottom of it. Really nothing too much, it's all clear plastic. Here's the back. It comes with the AC adapter. The earlier models of the CD64 actually you worked off the power of the N64, kind of like the disk drive does. It didn't have its own external power, although the later versions models, they did have their own AC adapter. That's what that is. I'm not sure what this port does. This connects to your PC, and what you can do with that is when you put on a game in upside down like this, you can actually take the ROM of the game and basically rip it to your computer, and you can take those ROMs and burn it to a CD and put all your games on one CD for convenience. Obviously, pirating was a huge issue when these systems came out. Nintendo was not happy about it, and because of that, they decided to sue the manufacturer UFO Success Company, and they sued Bung, who made the Dr. V64, and so they basically took them off the market. To boot this game up, you need a cart plugged in, and the cart that generally works the best, this is 007, it'll work, is Mario 64. That's going to also work with this pretty well. Another thing I also found kind of unique is, in order to play or boot up the CD64 Plus, you need the game cart face down, okay, and you also need the cart in there. There's no on-off switch on the CD64 Plus. Actually, the power goes through, the on-off goes through the N64, but if there's no game in there, the boot up screen doesn't happen. And I've noticed with this particular model that I have, and probably because of what happened with possibly overheating, is that some games work for it and some don't. So that's kind of seems to be random as far as how that goes. Another reason why you want the N64 game in the system when you're playing it is because there's a lockout chip in a lot of N64 games that Nintendo put there for piracy reasons, and it gets around that. So it uses the cart in there, and it uses that chip, and it kind of boots from the CD-ROM, and essentially gets around it. So it's kind of a clever way to do that. Later models of the N64 actually have smaller ports and to combat some of these issues. So some of the N64, the later models, will not work or not compatible to fit these bootleg or piracy machines, so as I call it. Without any further ado, let me show you how this thing actually loads and turns on and how it plays. Power this on. So here's the main CD64 Pro menu area. Load CD file, which I'll show you what happens. Make some noise. CD not ready. So as you can see, it's not working properly. If normally that would have a whole bunch of CD-ROMs that would have loaded onto the CD. At that point, I can just select my ROM and boot it up, and it should play normal. Start CD file, load boot emulator, download card. So right now, Super Mario 64 is in the game or in this console. So I'm saving it to my DRAM. So it's right there in the bottom left. So I can put another game in there, in this console, and have two games basically loaded into the system. Start card, memory manager. Shows you my memory. I have a ROM. So USA, looks like Cruising USA was played last. BIOS, DRAM, 256 megabytes, as I mentioned before. CD64.com is a website that's no longer around. I checked. Here's Xterminator. Here's some let's see tools. Procom link, that's how you can link it up to your PC. Edit memory, copy card header, swap DRAM bytes, CD64 test. Let's go to Xterminator. This is what I was talking about before. This is basically kind of like a Game Genie essentially for the N64. So it's got 182 games. Every game pretty much made up into when the system came out. Push R, you can move over, scroll over different menus. Let's see, Super Mario Brothers. It's all alphabetical, obviously. You go to UK, US, or Japan, different versions. Go to USA. Different new cheats. There's different cheats. You can only load up to 12 cheats at a time, I think. But there's 18 total. So you have unlimited lives, unlimited energy breath, level select, debug mode, unlimited hat usage, no power display, invisible. Half Mario, Limbo Mario. Mario runs backwards. I don't know why you'd want that. Super fast game, Big Fist Mario, Strobe Mario. Some of these are kind of worthless. I think we got the ones, pretty much all the good ones. X out here, you push start. Let's go back. Let's start card.
It's me, Mario. Hello.
So now you can see I have a select stage. I can select my stage. Let's go to a random one. You see my lives are 100 lives. So it works. I love this game. That's kind of cool. So, hey, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. And I will see you soon. Take care.